What's up, guys? Ryan here, doing another Think, Learn, and Be Vulnerable vlog. Done a bunch of these already. Hopefully, you guys like them and been watching them. I appreciate those of you that have. Um, I would like to talk today about virtue signaling. And so, what the hell is virtue signaling? It's basically attacking someone's argument by saying that they're only making that argument to look good. You know, you're signaling your virtue. Like, guys, I believe in this, and this makes me good. And I got a major problem with that. My problem is that I was actually the one that invented virtue signaling. Very first one. If you know me and you look back on all the arguments that I've ever made, especially in these vlogs, you'll know that I am making every single one of them to make myself look good. That's the whole point. And I want some goddamn credit for it. I was the first person to do virtue signaling. Number one, right here. And I want some credit for it. I want everybody to look at me and tell me how good I am for inventing virtue signaling. Because only a really good person like me could invent something so awesome like virtue signaling. Now, every single conservative outlet is using virtue signaling now. I want the credit for it. I'm number one. I also won my World's Most Humblest Man Award from 2016 to 2018. 3 years in a row. I deserve it every single year. The most humble. I let everybody know. I had aggressive for your consideration most humble campaigns. So those are two awards that I want now. And by the way, I don't want to bring it up because I'm a humble man and I don't like to signal my virtues. Nobel Peace Prize would be nice too. Just saying. So here's the problem with accusing somebody of virtue signaling. That doesn't actually invalidate their argument. Just because somebody says, hey, you know what, I feel like LGBTQ people should have the same rights as everybody else. Does that let other people know that you have what is considered to be a morally good viewpoint? Sure. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. But you know what? It's also the right thing to do. The reason it's virtue signaling is because, yeah, you should be thinking that way. That is a good thing. Everybody should be treated equally. You don't get to put down someone else's argument by saying they're virtue signaling when their argument is correct. Notice, you never get accused for virtue signaling by being like, oh, I feel like we should murder puppies, you know? Or, oh, I feel like we should give people a $600 stimulus check instead of a $2,000 stimulus check. Like, everybody understands a $2,000 stimulus check is better. And so if you were like, hey, I think we should give 2,000 instead of 600, yes, you're virtue signaling, but of course, everybody would want that. There's a lot of people that are suffering right now, and that extra $1,400 could be rent for a month or 2 months. You know, it could be food for a month. Who knows? Or 2 months. You know, it could be enough to get you through a little bit longer. You know, and the problem is when you utilize attacks like virtue signaling, then what you're really doing is you're saying your own argument has no merit. Because instead of taking the other person's argument and showing how they're wrong and pointing out different points, all you're saying is they're making this argument because it makes them sound good. Well, here's the problem. It does make them sound good, which means your argument is probably wrong. And if you have to accuse somebody of virtue signaling, what you're really saying is not only is my argument wrong, their argument is clearly better and is clearly the accepted consensus better argument. So it's just a stupid argument. Same thing with like liberal cuck. Like, one, cuck comes from cuckolding, which means to cheat on your significant other, or maybe even wife or husband. But okay, so I'm a liberal who has extramarital sex. And what's wrong with being a liberal? Like when you accuse somebody of being a liberal, they're like, okay, yeah, I am liberal. Like, a lot of the things that I'm saying are liberal relative to your conservatism. So I don't think that's an insult. It's like, oh, you're just a damn Republican. I'm like, yeah, I am a Republican. I believe in, small government and conservative fiscal policy and, I don't know, lack of immigration, strong borders, things like that. I don't know, gays suck too. Like, but if that's what you believe in, me calling you a damn Republican doesn't change that feeling. So I would say to those of you out there who are, right-wing leaning, your arguments need to be more nuanced. And if you are resorting to tactics like calling somebody virtue signaling or liberal cuck or something like that, then guess what? It means that your argument is probably poor. And then you need to re-examine what you're looking at. So, think, learn, and be vulnerable. Well, I think we need to realize, like, virtue signaling is kind of a stupid phrase, but looking at our own beliefs and realizing, are they something that we hold true and hold very deeply, or is it just kind of, the way that people are thinking nowadays? And don't be afraid to go against the mainstream if, one, you deeply believe it, and two, you have good, solid, sound moral arguments for it. What can we learn? Well, I think we need to learn what is the underlying connotative meaning to the things that the things that we accuse others of. We need to realize that sometimes when we call somebody something, it's actually telling them what we really think about ourselves. Donald Trump does that a lot. He's like, oh, it's a scam, it's a hoax. Meanwhile, he is scamming and hoaxing everybody. So realizing that the things that we often see as faults in others are things that we often see as fault in ourselves. And in terms of being vulnerable, yeah, it's a running theme in these vlogs, man. Just taking a good hard look at everything you believe in and thinking about whether it's good or not. And I usually fall on the side of, is this going to help the most people achieve the most freedom and feel the most good about themselves? And typically, if those three things are in line, it's usually a good thing. Help a lot of people, help them feel good. It's not hard. You just got to show that you care. We're all on this big giant ship / planet called Earth. Got to get along. We got to stop seeing each other as the enemy. Start seeing ourselves as a world collective. And until we do, we're going to have people accusing each other of stupid shit all the time. All right, guys. Thank you so much.